Have you ever tried so hard and still failed? Have you ever put everything into something, your time, your energy, your heart, and watched it fall apart anyway? Have you ever stood in the middle of your life and asked, why does it feel like no matter what I do, it is never enough? Maybe you lost a job you worked years for. Maybe a relationship ended that you tried everything to save. Maybe a dream you built slowly collapsed overnight. And the worst part? It was not because you gave up. It was because you gave everything. Today I want to share a story. A story about a boy named Lucas and a kite that kept breaking. Stay until the end, because what Lucas learned on that windy hill might change the way you see every broken thing in your life. Lucas was 9 years old. He lived in a small town in Ohio. Nothing special about it. Green fields, quiet streets, a hill behind his house. Lucas was not the smartest kid in his class. He was not the most popular. He was not the one teachers always called on. But Lucas had one thing, a dream. Every single day after school, Lucas would run to that hill behind his house, and he would try to fly his kite. It was not a fancy kite. His grandfather had made it by hand. Old wooden sticks, red and yellow paper, a long white string. Lucas loved that kite more than anything he owned, because his grandfather, who passed away 2 years ago, had told him something before he died. He said, "Lucas, one day you will fly this kite so high that it will touch the clouds, and when it does, I will be watching." Lucas never forgot those words. Every day he went to that hill, every day he tried. The first time the kite broke, Lucas cried. He picked up the pieces, went home, fixed it with tape, and came back the next day. The second time it broke, he did not cry. He just sat on the grass for a long time, looking at the broken pieces, thinking, maybe I am doing something wrong. He watched videos. He read about kites. He changed how he held the string. He changed the angle. He changed everything he could think of. And the third time, the kite did not just break. It flew straight into a tree, got tangled, torn apart. Lucas pulled the pieces down one by one. The red and yellow paper was ripped. The wooden sticks were cracked. He sat under that tree, alone, and for the first time, he thought about giving up. Maybe this kite was never meant to fly. Maybe I was never meant to fly it. He walked home slowly that evening. His father saw his face. He did not say anything. He just made him hot chocolate and sat beside him. After a long silence, Lucas said, "Dad, I keep trying, and it keeps breaking. What is the point?" His father looked at him and said something he did not understand at that moment. He said, "Lucas, maybe it is not breaking. Maybe it is teaching." Lucas went to bed that night confused, but something about those words stayed with him. The next morning, Lucas went back to the hill. Not because he felt confident, not because he had a new plan. He went back because something inside him simply could not stay away. That morning, there was an old man sitting on the hill. He had white hair, quiet eyes, and he was watching the sky. Lucas sat a few feet away and started fixing his kite. The old man glanced over. "That kite has seen some battles." Lucas looked up. "It keeps breaking." The old man nodded slowly. "Can I ask you something?" he said. "Which way is the wind blowing right now?" Lucas looked around, felt the air. "That way," he pointed. The old man smiled. "And which direction were you running when you tried to launch it?" Lucas thought. "The same direction." The old man was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "A kite never rises with the wind. It rises against it." Lucas stared at him. "If you run with the wind, the kite just follows you. It stays low. But if you turn around and face the wind, the kite fights against that pressure, and that fight is exactly what lifts it up." Lucas did not fully understand yet, but he stood up, turned around, faced the wind, and ran. The kite pulled back hard against the string. It shook. It struggled. For a moment Lucas thought it would break again, but then it rose. Slowly at first, then faster, higher and higher. Lucas stood still, holding the string, watching his kite climb into the sky. His eyes filled with tears, not because the kite was flying, but because he finally understood the resistance was never the problem. The resistance was the reason it could fly. Lucas visited that hill every day after school. Sometimes the old man was there. Sometimes he was not. But every time they talked, Lucas learned something new. One day the string snapped mid-flight. The kite drifted away and landed far down the hill. Lucas ran after it, frustrated. The old man called out. "What did you notice before the string broke?" Lucas thought. "It was flying too fast. The wind was too strong. I should have let out more string." The old man nodded. Sometimes things break, not because you are weak, but because you are holding on too tight. Some things need more room to grow. Lucas wrote that down when he got home. Another day, a small tear appeared in the kite's paper. Lucas wanted to stop flying it immediately. The old man said, "Fly it anyway." "But it is torn." "So are most things worth loving," the old man said quietly. "A small tear does not make it useless. It makes it real." Lucas flew the kite that day. Torn and imperfect, still flying. He learned that day that broken does not mean finished, damaged does not mean done. Months passed. Lucas had fixed that kite so many times, he had practically rebuilt it from scratch. But it was still the same kite. Same wooden frame his grandfather made. Same red and yellow colors. Just stronger now. Repaired in a dozen places. One afternoon, the wind was perfect. Lucas stood at the top of the hill. He knew exactly what to do now. He faced the wind. He let out the string slowly. He did not rush. He did not panic. The kite rose steadily, higher than it had ever gone before. Lucas kept letting out string, more and more, until he was holding the very end, just a thin thread connecting him to something way up in the sky. He looked up. The kite was so high, it was almost disappearing into the clouds. Lucas stood there, wind in his face, string in his hands, tears running down quietly. He whispered, "I did it, Grandpa. I did it." And in that moment, he was not just a 9-year-old boy flying a kite. He was every person who kept going when it made no sense. He was every person who fixed something that kept breaking. He was every person who faced the wind, instead of running away from it. Here is the truth that Lucas discovered on that hill. The wind that makes things difficult is the same wind that makes things possible. The resistance you are feeling right now is not proof that you are failing. It is proof that you are rising. Every time something in your life broke, it was teaching you something. Every time you had to start over, you were not going backward. You were rebuilding stronger. Every time you felt the pressure, something inside you was being shaped. We spend so much of our lives running away from the hard wind, looking for the easy direction, the path with no resistance. But easy paths keep kites low. The struggle you are in today is developing the strength you will need tomorrow. The relationship that ended taught you what you truly deserve. The job you lost pushed you toward the work you were actually meant to do. The plan that failed cleared the path for something better to begin. Nothing in your life broke you. Everything in your life was building you. So the next time life feels like it is working against you, remember Lucas. Remember that the wind in your face is not your enemy. It is your lift. Face it. Hold your string. And rise. Because somewhere up there, above all the struggle and the waiting your sky is waiting. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who needs to hear it today. And tell me in the comments, what is broken in your life that actually made you stronger? See you in the next story.